the discussion regarding moral failure has shifted from simple guilt to the more profound concept of moral injury, the psychological and spiritual trauma resulting from actions or inactions that deeply transgress one's core ethical beliefs. This inquiry explores the unraveling of the moral self, how a profound transgression can create a sense of being irrevocably broken or disjoined from one's own character. In this state, an individual may experience a dangerous psychological shift, where subsequent unethical acts feel trivial in the shadow of their primary failure. By examining these mechanics of character deterioration, we can better understand the urgent necessity for restorative justice, which seeks to halt this downward spiral by offering a structured pathway for accountability, healing, and the reconstruction of moral identity. This process typically unfolds through several distinct psychological stages. 1. The soul wound and moral injury. When an individual commits an act that severely violates their core ethical values, they may suffer moral injury. Destruction of moral identity. Unlike minor lapses, a profound transgression can fundamentally challenge one's view of themselves as a moral person. Character deterioration. Psychiatrist Jonathan Shea observed that for those with moral injury, their ideals, ambitions, and attachments begin to change and shrink, effectively deteriorating their character over time too. Moral disorientation and anomie. A severe moral breach can lead to moral disorientation or moral anomie, a state where an individual loses their moral frame of reference. Loss of direction. Because they have crossed a line they believe they never would, they may feel it is impossible to ever realize their moral beliefs again. Abandonment of frameworks. The sense of being unrecoverable often leads to the abandonment of moral frameworks entirely, as the individual no longer feels bound by standards they have already irrevocably broken through. Post-moral disengagement as a coping mechanism to manage the intense guilt and shame, feeling I am bad. Following a transgression, individuals often engage in post-moral disengagement, trivializing subsequent actions. Once the absolute immoral act has been committed, further unethical acts are often viewed as trivial in comparison. Cognitive justification. They may rationalize a continuous reduction of character by convincing themselves that since they are already damaged or bad, additional immoral acts do not fundamentally change their status. 4. Behavioral consequences. Self-sabotage and passivity. This disjointed state often manifests in self-destructive ways. Self-handicapping. Individuals may engage in self-sabotaging behaviors because they feel they no longer deserve success or healthy relationships. Loss of agency. The injury can rob someone of their sense of agency, making them feel powerless or resigned to the unethical forces acting upon them. Avoidance of intimacy. To protect their damaged self-image or avoid the unsafe feeling of being judged, they may withdraw from social engagement and intimacy. In summary, the perception that one's character is already ruined can create a psychological environment where the striving for the moral self is replaced by a resigned acceptance of further moral decay. Restorative and healing justice are recognized not just as alternatives to punishment, but as essential tools for repairing the psychological and social fractures caused by wrongdoing. Unlike traditional retributive systems that focus on state-imposed pain, restorative justice treats crime as a violation of people and relationships, creating an obligation to make things right. 1. Importance for the victim. The acted against. For survivors, restorative justice shifts the focus from the offender's punishment to the victim's recovery and empowerment. Voice and empowerment. Victims often feel marginalized in adversarial courts. Restorative processes allow them to express the full impact of the harm, ask why me, and play a central role in determining what amends should be made. Emotional healing. Facilitated dialogue can significantly reduce post-traumatic stress symptoms, anger, and fear of re-victimization. Closure. Receiving a genuine apology or witnessing an offender take active responsibility can provide a sense of justice that incarceration alone cannot deliver. 2. Importance for the wrongdoer. For the offender, restorative justice replaces passive serving time with active accountability, breaking the cycle of guilt. As noted in your previous query, absolute immoral acts can lead to character decay. Restorative justice provides a pathway to forgive oneself by taking rigorous, tangible steps to repair harm. Humanization of harm. Meeting the person they harmed forces offenders to confront the human consequences of their actions, fostering empathy and remorse that often lead to lower recidivism rates, often by 10% to 25% or more. Reintegration. Instead of being permanently stigmatized, offenders are given a structured way to earn back their place in the community, reducing the social alienation that often drives further crime. 3. The social responsibility. Restorative justice recognizes that crime does not happen in a vacuum. The community has a dual responsibility to support both the harmed and the harmer. Communal accountability. The community helps set standards of conduct and provides the scaffolding for the offender to fulfill their obligations, for example, through community service or mentoring. Addressing root causes. Healing justice often uncovers systemic issues, such as lack of mental health resources or economic despair, that contributed to the behavior, allowing the community to address these upstream causes. Sustainable public safety. By rebuilding trust and social cohesion, rather than relying solely on isolation, restorative practices create safer, more resilient neighborhoods.